I see, Jaclyn. I can
Yeah.
see where your eyes were aligned into the book there, that you're focused on compelling futures. And it's one of those things when we're talking about authentic leadership that is really misunderstood, but it is the absolute foundation of great leadership is having a compelling future, having a clear direction as to where you're going. And what that is, because a lot of times when people, especially people that don't understand this, and I was guilty of this. Where I grew up, it wasn't an affluent area. Well, it originally was an affluent area, but my family, we certainly weren't short of things, but I wouldn't say it was in the that high end. But when my daughters went to school, where they went to school was one of the wealthiest schools in the state, and the people associated there with were like super mega wealthy. And I was really surprised by the character of those people. What was driving them was actually giving back and looking after people and making the world a better place. And I think that's really misunderstood when you look at the people that make massive change. And I use Steve Jobs a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the change that he was talking. Yes, did he want to make money? He did.
Right.
But what was really driving that was how computers could actually make people's lives better.
Right. From creating that change, and what's that? What values and drive do you have that is making the future so that you're actually thinking, going forward, if I can do this, this is going to be my impact.
Yeah.
That I'm going to be able to help more people.
Yes.
And I don't want to say leaving the word help, but I can impact. I'd rather say impact. Because impact does so much more.
Yeah. And
can I actually be when I put my head down on the pillow at night, or when the coffin closes, so to speak, will people think of what I did to inspire and move people to do for betterment?
Absolutely. And that's when you look at that as a compelling future. It is about inspiring people to do better. And just naturally, we're inspired by helping other people. When we think about how our body is designed, when you actually do some good in the world, you produce dopamine in your body. You produce serotonin, which makes you feel good. And video games are designed around this. Little Mario goes along and he gets a gold coin, you get a dopamine hit. And it's the same. Our bodies are designed that way. So as a leader, when you have a compelling future that is linked to making the world a better place, and especially if you articulate it very well, where all the steps give you those little dopamine points. And this is where, as a leader, you can really, if you know how to do this, you can actually inspire people because they're getting those little dopamine. They're little Mario getting the gold coins.
Right. They're getting that, and that's actually, I think, some of the one of the biggest things as a leader to be able to do is that not only are we able to, as a leader, have an impact, on society, but the people that are in your fold.
Absolutely.
That you're leading, the people at your company. And I always love to say, the people that are in a company, and if you're part of it, whether it's a team, they're not your employees, they are your team members. And how can you give them that little rush, almost like, you have a PI, you had a personal best, right? What is that, so that they do get that hit and they're feeling better, and so then they want to keep doing more.
Absolutely. And that's where that compelling future really helps, because we're talking about leadership as well, and we talk about burnout and how to avoid that. When you're clear about your values and your compelling future of your organization is for the betterment of organization, it becomes very easy to actually put those steps out so people get those dopamine hits, because if you've linked it well and go, here's our overall compelling future, you personally have your own compelling future, which as a CEO of a company should, if it doesn't go to another company.
Right. Yeah. Well, what you just said is I think that's really important to really emphasize. Having the compelling future for yourself personally, professionally and organizationally.
Yeah.
And there are those three components. Your personal, what you want to do for yourself, if you're the founder of a company, the CEO, whether you're a member, know what you want that future to be.
Yeah.
What is that, when you think about that vision, 5, 10, 20 years, end game, like, what is that compelling future that's going to keep you going personally? What do you want you in your business, like professionally, where do you want that to be? And what do you want the impact of your organization?
Absolutely. And this is where, if we take it a step further for your own well-being as a leader, when you talk about, people have come back and you see it, they have one of those days and it's really stressful, they're stressed out. And in extreme cases, that can lead to substance abuse, long-term substance abuse, to deal with the stress. That comes about because that alignment is not there.
Right.
When your alignment is there, yourself with your own personal compelling future linked to the company's compelling future, the company that you're leading, no matter what happens then, it can be things aren't going to plan, but because you're in alignment, it doesn't become this thing that drains you. It becomes, okay, this is just a stepping stone because you're aligned.
Right. It doesn't have an impact on your health. Yeah. It does. It becomes a learning moment where you can actually,
a positive impact,
right, it's a positive impact. That's a learning moment where you can say, okay, in business, there's always going to be the highs and the lows, right?
Yeah. I love those graphs. You see the chart and it says, here's the plan. It starts here and it's a straight line to there. And then they go the reality. And it's like, well, why didn't you plan for the reality?
Right. But and that's also that where we talk about compelling future, we know that in our future, right, we know that there is going to be a high.
Yes.
We know that there's going to be a low point. We're going to learn in that low point that's going to go back up. We're always doing that, right?
Absolutely.
We're always, it's like an infant, right? And a kid, like what happens with a kid, they're born and they go, they expand and then they get taller. They expand and they get taller. It's the same thing in our business.
Yeah.
But we know that future for that infant, the future is it's going to grow. Yes. And it's the same thing with our companies and leading. We need to always be thinking about that, what is the expansion, growth, moving us to that bigger future that we know that we also have to articulate to the people on our team.
Absolutely. And that's where, using that articulation as the example, it's one of those things when you have that compelling future and going, this is the benefit we're providing. This is how we're making the world a better place. This is how we're helping people in the world, how we're impacting, use your word, how we're impacting people. It becomes easier when you have those moments that don't go very well. You go, well, okay, this is our focus. What do we need to do now to adjust what we're doing so we can actually get that impact that we're talking about? What is it that we need to learn to move forward? And that distinction that we talk about with authentic leadership between values, which is the core, and they stay the same, and behaviors which evolve. Right. A lot of the times when things don't go to plan, it's because a behavior needs to change. Right. Not our core.
But the behavior has to change, so we're measuring, monitoring, adjusting.
Exactly.
And at the same time, when the things aren't going to plan or they need to be measured, monitor, adjust, when you actually can reflect back on that compelling future and the impact that you're making, that inspires your people. Yeah. That compelling future could be thought of as that inspiration, so that we know that, you know what, when the saying, right, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, because they're going to be, they know where they want, and it's also the what you tell yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So, Joe Namath, don't quote me on the whole thing, but which football, I think it was basically the Super Bowl. Don't quote me on all of those things. I just remember the story of him saying that he inspired the team. Yeah. Because everybody thought that they were not going to win. Yeah. And he said, no. We are going to win. We're going to take what the naysayers, don't listen to the naysayers. Yeah. Our compelling future is the Super Bowl win. And what happened? They won.
Absolutely. And that's that point. It's maintaining that compelling future when things are looking dark. Yeah. And that's the hierarchy is you have your values, which that's the core of who you are or your company is. Next is your compelling future. And so that can change over time.
Yep.
But at the moment, is where are we headed at this time? We're using our values as the moral guide, and the compelling future is where we're heading at this point in time, and that may change over time. You look, go back, use Apple as an example. It was making some computers, and now it does a whole bunch of different things. So it's what it's doing, it's a value it's adding is changed. And then it's the behaviours, which what you said as well with the footballer who actually goes, okay, no, this is the vision we're going for. And his behaviour, rather than slouching down and going, oh, we're going to lose, he said, no, we're going to win.
We're going to win.
Yeah.
And our compelling future, as you were just saying, we evolve. Companies evolve. And your compelling future at the end, it's the future of the company, where it's going, what it actually does may change, but the impact that you have aligns with the values, should always be at the forefront. As a company, we want to be thought of as this. Your business may change, like as again, whatever you're selling, but the company as a whole.
Absolutely. And part of that too, and you said it needs to be front and center. One of those things that you often see, and how often do you go into a company and see that you ask them, what direction you're heading, and they don't, and the people don't know. It should be something that is, any meeting you have, it's like, this is where we're going, and you remind people over and over again. It's also a way of telling whether people aren't aligned, and we talked about emotional intelligence in another video, and check that out, because you do need to be able to make a decision with people, because they are the heart and soul of your company. They're the operational center. And if those people aren't aligned with that compelling future, then they're going to be destructive to the objective and to the good people you've got in the company. So if you're not repetitively instilling that in people, how are you going to know whether they're aligned or not?
Right. So it's one of the things that I would say to anybody right now, if you have not created that compelling future and articulated it on paper, like, stop what you're doing right now, write it out, and make it something that when you lead every single meeting, it becomes your rallying cry for what you do.